So I am what's called a polyglot. What that means is that I speak several languages. Not one, not two, not three, more than that. When people find that out, they tend to ask me one of two questions. First would be, what languages do you speak? Which is a natural question. And that's what you get from the average person. However, there's a question I get from people who are really into languages, and that's, how do you learn to speak another language? And I guess people get disappointed when I give them my answer because they're expecting some kind of secret. And in a way, there is a secret, and I'm going to tell it to you now. Like Kung Fu Panda, the secret ingredient is you. There's no program that I've ever run into that's going to make you really fluent in a language. There's no app I've tried, there's no book, no YouTube channel to watch that's going to make you 100% completely confident in a language. So, before you begin studying a language, realize that. The next thing is, that I want to say is, maybe even being 100% fluent isn't what your goal is. The first thing you need to do is you need to decide what your goal is. How well do you want to speak the language? And the third thing you need to do is to make a plan of how you're going to use the language. Now, it seems obvious, and depending on why you're learning the language, that may be easy. If you're moving to France, you're probably not going to have a lot of difficulty finding opportunities to speak French. However, if you're learning Latin, you're going to have a hard time if you want to go and move someplace where they speak the language, because unless you're the Pope and you're moving to Vatican City, probably not going to happen. You need to have a plan on how you're going to speak the language. So first, you need to realize that there's no perfect solution that's going to, on its own, get you all the way. Second, after you realize that, set a plan for where you do want to get. And third, set a plan for how you're going to use what you learn. These are three things you need to do before you learn a language. And you can adjust a couple of those things as you go along, but that's it. So, let's go back to the first point. Realizing that no plan is going to be perfect. After you have goals for what you want to do with the language, use multiple resources. Maybe one at a time, maybe multiple in conjunction, but reach out, branch out. Look for opportunities to learn from unusual places. And then look for opportunities for where to use those acquired skills in different places. I speak to people online to practice my language skills. That's probably the number one thing I do. Another thing I do is that I play video games in the languages I'm trying to learn. I learned French by playing Pokemon in French. That creates its own complications that you have to plan for and expect. But what matters is that you're being creative. And the reason I recommend specifically trying a video game is that it makes you not only try to understand what you're hearing and reading, it makes you act on it. And that's way better gamification of learning a language than basically any app that I've ever tried. And so branch out, study, Don't rely on just a single resource, because there's no perfect resource. Have fun with it. And the fourth thing that I tell people when they're learning a language is to have fun, to enjoy it. And so, especially this time of year when people are setting new goals, maybe your goal is to acquire a new language. Now's a perfect time. Just remember those 3 things I told you.